There are two kinds of people in the world. People who believe that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and people who are wrong.
Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
However, storytelling is about imagination, the infinity of what if. So this festive season, let us imagine a world in which Die Hard is not a beloved Christmas classic, merely a movie which takes place at Christmas. There are many of these, mostly written by Shane Black. The man either loves the holiday or hates it, and I don't care to know which is the case. Into this bleak Dickensian world where John McClane is denied his rightful place among the likes of Charlie Brown, Tiny Tim, or Kevin McAllister, comes a movie which asks, what if Die Hard was a Christmas movie? Welcome to the workshop. My name is Paul, aka Wordmaker. Now that surveys say I've alienated about half my audience, let's get Christmassy. Die Hard redefined the action movie genre. It replaced the stoic, invincible murder machines embodied by Chuck Norris, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sylvester Stallone with the emotionally raw and very squishy Bruce Willis.
Welcome to the party, pal!
It also spawned an entire subgenre of copycat movies, placing a lone underdog in a confined environment, outnumbered by bad guys who take over the place where the hero is, leaving them as the only one who can save the day. We've had Die Hard on a bus, Die Hard on a ship, Die Hard on a plane, Die Hard in the White House, and the best part is I know some of you expected me to use different movies for each of those. This thing even have its own TV tropes page. So it's kind of wild that it took until 2022 for us to get a Christmas movie that is so utterly Die Hard, it even directly copies plot beats from the first two movies. It takes place on Christmas Eve during a Christmas party. Although, given who the hero is, of course it's taking place on Christmas Eve. The hero initially tries to escape or get help from outside before eventually deciding to handle things himself. Bad guys show up to steal from a huge vault. The hero talks with both an ally and the bad guy over a walkie-talkie. A military group shows up to help, only to reveal they work for the bad guy. And there's a snowmobile chase. I'm sure I've missed others. Please do share more in the comments. Violent Night was produced on a budget of just $20 million and made $76.6 million at the box office. Hardly record-setting, but enough to earn it a sequel, which is due for release next December. I love a good Christmas movie, and Violent Night is one of my favorites. I'm always down for putting Santa Claus into non-traditional genres, like how he canonically exists in DC Comics, and every year breaks through the defenses of Apocalypse to deliver a lump of coal to Darkseid. Santa's great. We kick off with Santa Claus drinking in a Bristol pub. This Santa has seen better days. We barely make it to the 3-minute mark and he is contemplating the possibility that this might be his last Christmas. By the time he reaches the United States, he is angrily stuffing cash into stockings, throwing gifts at Amazon boxes, and peeing on the White House. That's not a joke. According to IMDb, based on the camera position, Santa is right about to fly over the White House while he's peeing. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Trudy Lightstone and her utterly awful family. Her mom is great, but when I tell you that her dad is the best one out of the rest, it is not the compliment you think it is. We get this lovely one-shot which establishes each of the members of Scrooge's gang. Santa arrives and helps himself to some of Trudy's cookies. I'm more of a savory snack guy myself, and rates the liquor. I'm not a brandy drinker, but I imagine the old equals good policy holds true. Soon after the gang takes over, we get the first couple of Santa's kills. These are darkly comedic, with Santa shown to be an eclectic mix of panicked and in over his head, as well as viciously brutal. But it's not long before we learn that, surprise, Santa is a badass with tribal tattoos and scars all over his body as Nordic chanting creeps in. We learn that Santa was once a Viking warrior, Nicomund the Red, which I find a fantastic reference to the connections between Santa Claus and the Norse god Odin. The stakes keep escalating from here, to the point where Santa's thoughts about this being his last Christmas come deathly close to realization at every turn. I cannot express how much I love a saving Christmas story. This shit is my jam. Which is why, rewatching the movie to figure out what I wanted to say about it, I was surprised to realize that beneath the surface, this is a movie about mental health, about living with depression, in a world that makes you feel like you're no longer valued or wanted. Yeah, weren't expecting things to get heavy in a silly Christmas video, were you? Let's back things up a bit. The movie leans heavily into themes of greed and consumption, and Santa starts off in a place where he blames children for his loss of passion for the job, as they don't seem to show any lasting appreciation for the things he brings them. Worse, kids aren't even really interested in toys anymore. Keep in mind that traditionally, Santa Claus doesn't just deliver gifts, he makes them. He's a craftsman, a creator, and he used to feel fulfilled when the things he created were appreciated. But it's clear things haven't been that way for a while. The gift-giving montage shows him increasingly angry that kids are asking for video games or even just cash, and that in some cases, his entire role as gift giver has been replaced with a soulless corporation. What place is there for Santa Claus in a world where kids want cash and people can have whatever they want, whenever they want, with the literal push of a button? It's the ever-present paradox of Christmas, the time we're told we should focus on kindness and being with our loved ones, and also the time of year when we are at our most devoted to capitalism. So, Santa doesn't really treat the job or himself with respect. I mean, drinking on the job isn't as out of the ordinary as you might think for old St. Nick. While Americans just leave out milk with the cookies, it's much more common here in Ireland and in the United Kingdom to leave out stout, sherry, or even whiskey for him. To say Santa must be at least a little buzzed is an understatement. However, throwing up over the side of the sleigh is definitely a bad sign. As someone who lives with it myself, I feel confident saying Santa is going through a depressive episode. He has dedicated his life to something that means a great deal to him, and he's feeling that it just might not be worth it anymore. But what I really like about how Violent Night handles mental health is that, unlike many movies, especially comedies and action movies, it doesn't treat depression like a binary condition. In so many cases, especially where the depression is the result of perceived personal flaws and failures, characters will be almost resentful of the thing that was once their calling, and their arc is to relearn what they loved about it and reignite their passion. Santa here is not like that. He clings to Christmas like a lifeline. Check out the look on his face when he bites into those cookies. Notably, the cookies that Trudy made for him. Obviously, there's the joke about the one that looks exactly like Santa. We're not supposed to think that these are particularly good cookies. No shade on Trudy's baking skills. So what I take from this is that it's the care and effort that matter. They literally taste better to him because Trudy made them herself. Even during the gift-giving montage, we see that he still cares about what Christmas should be. At the last house we see, where a dad has fallen asleep drinking in an armchair and his little daughter doesn't even seem to have a bedroom of her own, Santa gently places her gift with her and sets a lump of coal next to the dad. It's the first sign of tenderness he shows, the first hint that for all his cynicism, he knows there are kids that need him, and he cares deeply about them. Then he takes the dad's beer. There's only so much goodwill he's got to give at this point. Later, we get this lovely scene where, in an effort to reassure Trudy after she got the harshest "there is no Santa" moment since Gremlins,
Damn it, Trudy, Santa isn't real.
Santa talks about 2 Christmases where she wrote to him, where he gave her a stuffed bunny and a kite, respectively. He sounds genuinely happy, because for as much greed as there is, and for as much as he feels taken for granted, there are still kids like Trudy who are good and kind. And for this moment, he remembers why he does this. Depression can be like that. You often don't find your bright spots when others try to make you feel better, but when you make the effort to help someone else. This scene lifts the mood, and after an interlude with the rest of the Lightstone family, Trudy gets to return the favor. You see, a lot of the things that we hate to see in the world and in others are things that we fear that we ourselves are guilty of or may become guilty of. In Santa's case, one of the reasons he's so disillusioned by the greed he perceives in today's children is because he himself was once driven solely by greed. He admits to being a Viking raider who did unspeakably awful things in pursuit of riches. Puri points out that he may have done bad things before, but he's truly good inside, and he can use the skills he honed in his warrior days to stop the bad guys now.
Thank you.
This is a difficult part of the mental health journey, because even though you can get your bright spots, there's often this deep inner shame. Because mental health is all in your head, it's common to feel that you should be able to just will it all away. You can end up focusing on every mistake you've made, every missed opportunity, and it turns into a spiral. You can even start to believe that you deserve the depression, the sense of failure, because surely a better person would have beaten it. Bullshit. Battling depression doesn't mean getting rid of it. It doesn't mean being perfect. You learn to cope. You accept that this thing is a part of you and may always be a part of you. And crucially, you forgive yourself for that. You need that forgiveness for the next part. Because those brain gremlins will come back. And like when Santa is cornered in the barn with the kill squad bearing down, you'll want to give up. Because the Noid list keeps on growing, doesn't it? But you see, dealing with depression is about more than appreciating what makes you happy, and more than forgiving yourself. It's about realizing that you deserve to have good things in your life. Not just things you remember or things you can be thankful for already having, but new good things that you seek out and pursue, finding purpose and a life that is whole. After all, Santa doesn't just reward the people on the nice list. He punishes the ones on the naughty list. And it's when he accepts that he is allowed to want something that's just for him, to see his wife again, that he finds the tool to get the job done. He reclaims his whole self, not just the gift giver, not just the warrior, but both together to deliver some coal right up their
Anuses.
Thanks for watching. I'm not a therapist. Please, nothing here is meant to be, medical or psychological advice. It's just some thoughts I've had on this movie and my own journey. I live with anxiety and depression. I try to avoid saying that I suffer from it. That's just how I choose to frame for myself. These aren't things that I think can be cured. You learn to manage them, to live with them the best you can. Violent Night's easy to write off as a fun action comedy with the overtop violence, and it certainly embraces its R rating. But in my most recent watch, I was struck by how well it reflects my own experiences of depressive episodes. Mine just involve less gunplay and bloodshed. This is my last video of 2025. It hasn't been the year I hoped for. I definitely didn't keep up with the video schedule I promised back in January, and I'm still trying to get back into the swing of writing fiction, but I'm going to keep at it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what next year brings. If you're affected by depression or anything I've talked about here, remember there are places and people you can reach out to, even if it's just to call a friend for a chat. I've left some links to resources in the description below as well. And a few places, maybe if you feel you can donate to help people this time of year. So for now, remember, back up your arguments, cite your sources, take care, have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next year.